a lot of baseball this summer, haven't we, boys? Ooh, yeah. And I like watching and coaching my kids' baseball teams. Baseball is not my primary sport. It's basketball. So I've had to learn a lot about the game. And there have been times where I've wondered, what is so exciting about baseball? Coming from a basketball mindset, it's fast-paced, it's athleticism, it's the coordination. That too makes sense. It's the coordination of ball handling and dribbling. And yet, through baseball, I learned about strategy and skill and technique. Nothing I knew anything about. Like, how do you make sure that when you're throwing, you have to get your shoulder up and your elbow back so that you can have good throwing, and you set that tee up. Or when you're batting, it's a nice level, you get your knuckles lined up, and you're swinging level. What's that? Yep, you have to have your elbow up. That's right. See, I'm learning something all the time. And making sure your glove is all the way down to the ground so that it doesn't go between your legs, right? All these things that we learned. Regardless of the sport, it still remains difficult to navigate losing. Poor fielding, a missed catch, striking out, not wanting to let your team down because of the mistakes that were made. Each inning is like a new start until it's the bottom of the ninth, or in our league, the bottom of the sixth, and the outcome cannot be changed. Losing with dignity is hard, especially when you know you could have done something better, especially when you know you could have coached better. Sometimes our best self that we brought to the game is simply not enough for that game, and that's okay. And most of the time, it's not so much about winning and losing as it is about the attitude and effort. Am I a positive team member? Did I try my very best? What did I learn? And what can I work on better for next time? And how can I contribute to the success of this team? Baseball is not an individual sport. It is very much a team sport. What the shortstop does affects first base. What the pitcher does affects the catcher. What center field does affects second base. Individuals working together as one body. Imperfect individuals working together to win a game. Imperfect individuals helping each other to perfect their role, their position in this game. Individuals who are coached on a regular basis. When Tim gathers the team before each game, they are reminded to look for their cutoffs, back each other up, swing the bat, and to have fun. There's never going to be a flawless game. Every kid and coach that runs in and out of that dugout is celebrated for who they are and what they bring to the field. Even the kids and coaches that drive us to our limits, it's who they are and what they bring to the field. When Jesus sits down with a group of people that are normally not seen as a part of the team, many started questioning his coaching technique. In Matthew's gospel, who you ate with said a whole lot about who you were spiritually, socially, and economically. And what does Jesus say? I don't need perfect fielders and precision hitters. I need people who are going to show compassion and mercy. I need people who are going to imagine working together for the sake of making a better world and then doing so. I need people to ask questions and to listen, to understand. I need people to build intentional relationships. I need people to love one another. I need people to show up. I need people to support each other and to back one another up. This was risky coaching by a not-so-known coach at the time. And yet this rookie coach was creating quite a stir. This coach could see untapped potential and capabilities in others that were deemed less than acceptable in the neighborhood by virtue of their role in society. Tax collectors were often seen as complicit and benefited from Roman occupation. Tax collectors were also looking for ways to support their families and loved ones. What would happen if someone like Jesus built a relationship with tax collectors and sinners to understand their needs and wants in a world that was so good at segregating by virtue of Roman belief? What would happen if this coach was able to see those in the margins as the humans they were created in the image of God? Coaches have different ways of sharing information and demonstrating skills and techniques. I've seen a variety of methods. This encounter with Jesus was one of the many oppositional episodes in Jesus' interactions with teen Pharisees in the Gospel of Matthew. The Gospel of Matthew tells Jesus' story through the lens of deep connection to ancient Israel, the law of Moses and the law of the prophets. Jesus knows the playbook, much like the Pharisees and much like everyone else. The difference, though, is that Jesus was willing to read the playbook and then to try and do something different, which makes the question from the Pharisees seem so defiant. Why does your teacher eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? Why should this question even have to matter? Jesus' action and teaching in the world set him apart not for what Dietrich Bonhoeffer calls religious refuge. Instead, Jesus was sent to the world to embrace those on the margins for the sake of humanity and all that it holds. Ron Ruthruff writes, quote, Matthew's gospel is clear. Jesus knows the law and holds it sacred. He is also eager to get to its heart, the particular for the sake of the universal, the law of mercy shaping one's relational dynamic with neighbors and those on the margins of community. The law at its heart as a way of being in relationship with both God and the world. End quote. While the Pharisees and the disciples tried to live in ways that set them apart, Jesus makes the attempt at Matthew's home over dinner to show that his coaching technique, driven by the playbook that everyone knows, demonstrates a radical form of hospitality. Setting a bigger table, inverting hospitality, blending the lines between guest and host, recalibrating power, seeking relationship with all humankind. Divine love comes close to us all. We always think that coaching must be done in a particular way, or reading scriptures have to be done in a certain way so that we can be perceived as knowledgeable and even respectable in our fields of study. Jesus was concerned that people were not being seen and heard. As he shared table fellowship with questionable individuals from society, to listen, to learn, to hear their story, build the relational impact that once you've been seen and once a relationship has been made, there's no going back to maintaining ignorance of existence. We have gone far too long in pretending that certain members of humanity do not exist due to their race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, culture, and class. Jesus is telling us in this text that the table is big enough for all of us. The playbook includes all of us. We may just play different positions because that is where our gifts align. This is holy work. And this is finding a reason to hope that we too can step up to the plate. Or in the words of the song Center Field by John Fogerty, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Amen.